What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Barbells and Banter. Jason's still on fucking holidays. So we've brought in a new recruit. Someone that actually filled up the chair this week. We had Adrian Brown from Grounded Strength, who is a coach, ex-powerlifter turned bodybuilder, many weeks out working with Jace towards his second powerlifting competition, but coming back, I think, after about 10 years. Really interesting episode. Talked about Adrian's experience as a gamer, mountain bike riding, some coaching insights. Talked a little bit about content, and we gave a good shout out to the Hocktour girl. If you haven't seen that, rolling around the internet memes at the moment. It was a really fun chat. So grateful for Adrian to step in this week. It won't be the last time he's on the podcast for sure. Very close STC friend, so appreciate having him on. Don't forget to go find him, so at coach.adrianbrown. I think if you type those in, you'll find it. And Grounded Strength on all of the platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram as well, for all of the content they're putting out. For us, I think, because we're lazy more than anything, the coaching giveaway is still up on the website. Link in bios and all those things. So if you want to suss them out, STCfit.com, and you will probably find a place there to enter our competition for free coaching, or potential free coaching up to 6 weeks with Jason, Jess, or even myself. All right, enjoy the episode, and we will see you next week. Brunswick is like the least favourable suburb to leave in all of Melbourne.
I disagree. Ivanhoe's worse.
Is it?
Because Ivanhoe has like one exit. It's Bell Street. Okay. Whereas Brunswick, you've got multiple freeways. Yeah. You can go through the city. It's much more favourable. Because like when I was in Ivanhoe, it would be like hours everywhere. Like I'd go surfing from Ivanhoe and it'd take me 3 hours to get down to the coast. Whereas if I was in Brunswick, it'd be there.
It's not too bad.
It's an hour.
Yeah.
So it's I do agree and also I disagree.
So I used to Doherty's is obviously my go-to of like someone's in town, we'll just meet there. So if in the city, it's 45 minutes for me, it's 20 for them. And then if they're like southeast, like if I catch up with Jess or whatever, it's like that's the halfway point. Yeah. And then I started to realize like this is the worst spot to get out of in the world.
Which, the southeast or Brunswick?
Just getting out of Brunswick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, we're better off going to your gym, to Energy, because it's just off the freeway, and it's just like, it's actually faster for everyone, even though it looks worse.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Brunswick, you just get absolutely fucked from the trams and the tight roads. It's not so much, I don't think.
Fucking cyclists.
Yeah. It's not so much how it's built. Like, it's built really well, but, the streets are just like this, and, there's cars both sides. I agree, it is shit to
and
get
you get there at like 8:30, like, it's not too bad.
Yeah. And
then you walk out at 11 and you're like, just shoot me in the face.
Because everyone's walking around with coffee and shit.
Yeah.
Just can't go anywhere.
I really liked, so I live just off Park Street in Essendon and used to train at ASP. So like, I liked Essendon because you could get out.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're going to move. Because, we're looking at Essendon, Moonee Ponds.
Yeah.
Even Airport West now.
Yeah.
Because it's...
Yeah.
I mean, Brunswick, honestly... like
Airport West, like...
Because you haven't been to my place, but you would go, this part of Brunswick's easy. Because we're in Brunswick West, which is a border of everything. So escape is easy. But, if we're in deep, it would be rough. I agree.
I think if we stayed in there, we would have went to Strathmore.
Yeah, Strathmore's nice.
Yeah. Quiet. It's just like Gisborne, but closer to town.
City Gisborne.
Yeah,
is that your measurement now?
It's like the same people.
It's like, how much Gisborne has this area got? Yeah. I want to go there.
Yeah. And then we were like, hey, we should go live there. And then we're like, it's like $800 a week for an apartment.
It's cooked.
And that's that price for 18 bedrooms in Gisborne. Let's go there.
Well, it's weird talking to Jackson because he's like, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Just nuts.
Yeah, I got friends looking at moving too, and they're like out in Penrith, and you just like everything you hear of Penrith, you're like, fuck, like must be cheap out there. Yeah. And you hear the rent, you're like, god damn, that's like a good suburb in Melbourne.
That's a no from me, dog, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's fucked though.
It's a wild time.
Yeah. So I sent Adrian a message this morning because I had a segment that I was dying to talk about on the podcast because I think it's just the funniest fucking thing ever. So I don't know if I can find the video. Maybe Tam can bring it up and message it to me. So you know how you see like the guys will have their phone and they'll just interview people outside nightclubs and stuff.
Yeah.
So the half cart, it's always a little bit like touch and go. So there's this girl, she looks like early 20s, and has just like from what I've seen from my algorithm, maybe just because I watched it and sent it to my wife, I'm like, this is fucking hilarious. My entire feed is just her now. And it's just been remixed and changed. And all it is he says, what do you do? Basically, like, what do you do to keep your man happy? And she's just like, you got to give it that hock tour and spin on that thing. And it's just exploded.
Yeah.
So, like, there's country versions, there's metal versions, there's, like, you know how they did the I Want a Man in Finance, 6'5" Blue Eyes, and they remixed it? It's everywhere.
It's crazy.
Then, like, how do you get your golf clubs clean? And it's her over the top. It's fucking everywhere, man. It's so funny.
Do you think she'll, like, somehow monetize that? Like, you know, she's got to be everywhere, right?
So this is the thing, right? This is what I actually wanted to talk about. So, literally, if I open my Explore feed, 50% of it is this girl's face.
It's nuts.
Removed herself from all socials. Has vanished. Showed up once. So we've the internet has discovered her name. She showed up at like a local event to do a signing. So there's already merch out.
What the fuck?
So there's like a front runner style shirt. Actually, no, it's more like Trump's like early campaign, like the Make America Great Again. It's like similar text and colors and shit. Like it's an all American fucking
made
thing.
it she just quickly made it in paint and then just like, I'll put this on a t-shirt.
So she didn't make it. This is the thing, right? So someone's just been like, this, I need to capitalize this and sell t-shirts. And it wasn't her because she's vanished. But she showed up to a signing in her hometown. But I saw something yesterday. She got fired from her job, bro. So she's a teacher.
Oh, fuck.
And obviously,
it's rough.
It's kicked off. And it doesn't say what kind of teacher. So my primary school, you can maybe get away with it.
Yeah.
But like, after that video comes out, you go into high school.
I don't know if you can get away with it, like, whatever year it would be. Because, I mean, the parents are going to see it. That's the difference.
Yeah, it's so harsh.
You know, because if they're, you know, they'd be only like, you know, maybe 4 years older than us. So they're still in meme culture as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to see it.
Yeah, it's been on Rogan, man.
Well, it's over then.
Like,
you know.
What's that, 5 million people?
I don't know. Like, how would you... Yeah, there's so many ways that you would, like, try and take that. Like, the fall from grace is just be brutal.
Yeah.
If you were to just be like, you know, what she's doing is disappear. But then you almost want to just, like... I would almost confront it and go, how can I fucking make this a thing?
Yeah, interviews, podcasts, like
milk it for all it's got, do remixes with rappers and shit.
Just become an influencer overnight.
Yeah. Fuck, that setup would be nuts. I think, you know, for her... You can't imagine how overwhelming that would be. Like, she'd be pissed at that night, so she'd have absolutely no recollection of what happened. She'll probably wake up, 2 days later?
Like, to be fair, she looks reasonably put together in the video. Like, she's not a mess.
Right, okay.
But obviously definitely tipsy. And, like, there's 10 million of those interview clips a weekend. And you just happen to be the one that makes its way onto a little fitness podcast in Australia. Like, it's so unlucky, man, to then lose your job as well. It's rough.
It's just terrifying, the reach, though. Like, how quick that can happen. And, you know, it always seems to be like a sexual thing as well. It's always like, what was that classic one with the guy? He rides past on his bike and he's like, fuck around the pussy. Like, that guy, that one went nuts. And he leaned into it. Like, he was just trying to show up as many, you know, different things all at once, which is really cool. But... Man, that's nuts. Like, just that level of fame instantaneously.
Yeah. The last one I can remember is the woman after the fire.
Yeah.
That ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
And that just, like, that's just cultural language now.
Yeah. Which is nuts.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, like, the classic one is, like, everyone goes when they shoot something into a bin, they go Kobe, right? But that's been years of... So you can see, okay, well, the social media literally now accelerated... cultural norms.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone's going to be like, that's literally the first time I've heard of this Hawktar thing. So
yeah, but you'll be looking it up.
My whole phone will just be this fucking thing now.
I'll start sending them to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, man, I'd love to... I never know, because, you know when sometimes you make an Instagram video, you're like, oh, this maybe
could be the one.
Could be the one, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think you're ever prepared for the fact of, like, if it could be, and you've got overnight over 50,000 people, which your brain can only cognitively produce results for about 150 people.
Yeah.
Because that's like Dunbar's number or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like, how can you cope with that?
We had a trainer come through Standout who did 20,000 follows in a night.
Was that like early TikTok?
Yeah.
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 Because that just doesn't exist anymore.
And got like, it was like 150 inquiries for coaching.
Yes.
Overnight.
So what do you do? Like, you gotta fucking hire a VA, all this shit overnight.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's assuming you have a system that's good enough that a VA can even do anything. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah, I've heard it a couple of times. Another guy who's been on the pod as well, similar, got huge, just had a video go off into the millions. And obviously got a bunch of follows and stuff, and he was like, it didn't really help.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with, what I do. Like, on the Friday, I do, like, the funny sort of thing, and, like, this is all just a ploy to see if we can go viral, but I don't know where that will go. I don't really think the value is there for someone to be like, oh, he's doing hilarious shit that's fitness related and he's a coach. But I'm like, I don't really think it's ever going to lead to that. It's just more for me. It's just a creative outlet. Yeah. Rather than that, but
and like, so we think like that, but we're in the. I'm not as much probably, but like in the content creation space, I'm not as much as we record a podcast.
Yeah.
But like, if you're pushing to be that influencer, we're in the space of like, that's a good thing. Like, going viral, getting lots of eyeballs means monetization, means lots of upside, lots of leverage. But if you're just a school teacher from the South, like, and you don't have a social media presence on like that, it's just like the 120 followers that are my friends.
Who showed her? Do you reckon it's just her friend? Like, she just woke up and she's like,
yeah,
check this shit out?
Yeah.
Fuck. You'd lose it. I can't admit, yeah. Again, I think just the speed of which things can go.
Yeah.
But I mean, next week there'll be something else. Like, that's the crazy stuff.
That's the interesting thing. So I thought, when I said, like, it depends what school, I think junior, the parents forget in a week because there's a new story.
Yep.
And you just give her a month off. It's like, look, we need to let this calm down. Like, you just.
I agree. Yeah.
It's a bit of Buddy Franklin moving to Sydney. It's like, you need to go somewhere else just for a bit. Come back after a month. There's no like grade 5 kids really hassling over that.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like,
14, 15, 16-year-old boys? Very different story.
Yeah, they'll dig. That's the problem. They'll dig,
and they're not going to forget.
I can't imagine how hard that is as a teacher now, because, like, fuck, all the ammunition that these kids would have, and the sponge, and
you just have to not have socials.
Yeah. Which is that even possible?
Yeah.
Because, like, you've got a trail somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think, there's so many different things that you set up and you're almost forced to have it, right? Like, that's like the whole thing.
My wife goes to me the other day. She's like, if I didn't have a business, I don't think I'd have social media at all. And she goes, but I never talk to you because you just messaged me through Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I have Instagram up on my desktop. It's like, texting you is annoying.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah. It's funny, though, me and Liana will have like 4 different conversations on 4 different social platforms that are all different conversations, and I'm just like, I forget what we're talking about here. And it's like, it's weird because, like, you'll use a certain language for a certain, like,
platform. Yeah.
And then it just goes like, sure. So for like serious stuff, it's a text.
Yeah. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, in trouble. Instagram, it's just like meme spam plus like whatever other shit's going on.
Yeah.
And then randomly sometimes Messenger, but it's usually text is the serious.
Yeah, Amy used to be the only person that texted me.
Yeah.
When I was still at gym floor, and then once I was on the computer all the time, I was like, at the time it was Messenger.
Yeah.
So all of our work chats were all still through Messenger. But now we have Slack for that.
Yeah.
So I open Messenger and I'm like, oh, I didn't reply to that person from 15 days ago. Soz.
How do you read into text too much? Like, you're like, oh, that they probably typed that with a bit of aggression. No, you can read those and you're like,
look, I think I'm actually now on the other side where. So we joke all the time that no one knows if Jace likes them for like the first year. because the text messages are just like, bah.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's like, go back and add 3 emojis, bro, and then hit send.
Yeah.
Which I know he actually does.
Yeah.
So he'll type the message and then go, okay, good morning, how are you? And then at the end, like some kind of sign off, like, yeah. So I learnt this the other day, actually. So I messaged all my clients. I think it was to ask for questions for the pod or about check-ins or something. I sent it to my group message. And I was that day years old that when you do, what is it, like colon, the smiley face, but you type it. You don't actually use the emoji. It shows up as a smiley face on the computer.
But then it converts as emoji, right?
No.
Oh.
So it's just a written smiley face in the message.
What, just says smiley face?
Yeah.
That's
so
fucking
it's
creepy.
No. So it's just like the colon and the bracket.
Yeah, okay.
So it's just like typed smiley face. It's not actually
I thought it was
an emoji. It actually said smiley face.
Yeah, I thought it was like some baby reindeer sort of shit. It's like sent from my own phone, smiley face. I'll be like, I don't want to work with you anymore.
Yeah. So I sent this message with like 5 of them, just because I knew it was quite a direct message. It was like reminding you check-ins or something.
It created a different shape.
I was like, I'm still happy. It's okay. And then after that I wrote, and just for like sent the message, and then after that I wrote, and just for good measure, and did another smiley face. And I get this reply from Jess that's like, just for everyone else in here that's as anxious as me, Ben uses his computer on Instagram a lot, and they're actually emojis in his head, and he's happy. And I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know. So I've been like passive-aggressively smiling at people for like a year.
That's hilarious.
From my computer.
That's weird. Is that like a platform thing? Because I thought it always just converted.
It shows as an emoji on the computer. That's the worst part. But when it comes into
that's bizarre.
The app, it's not.
It's like trying to text people from iPhone to Android. It just makes it all fucking like completely different.
Yeah.
What you do.
Yeah, but I think I've moved from the if it's okay emoji, do you mind emoji, to just like, this is the thing.
Yeah.
I'm too far the other way now.
Yeah.
I have to do the stop, reread it, now write it with a smile. I've even said to people, like, just read this like I'm smiling.
Yeah, and you're just in front of your computer forcing a smile. Yeah, I think it's person to person to me. I know with some people they respond to in different regards to the text. I think in some answers I'm very direct, and it's just like, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
In other ones it's like, okay, build it out a bit more smiley faces and things like that. But I think, what the weird thing is? I think there's going to be a point where, you know how you have a phone voice?
Yeah, you'll have a text voice.
You have a text voice.
Yeah.
So it's just not going to exist anymore, that phone voice, because who calls? I can't even think the last person that called me. It was a Chinese FedEx bot that was trying to get me to go. I don't know what they were going to do. But yeah, that's the only real time that I would actually talk. It's really strange.
And you don't have phone voice the same way in a voice message?
No. It's different because I speak as if I'm texting, which is weird.
Except I say a lot in my voice messages, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, interesting.
Because I know other people.
I cut with Liana. She's an ummer, and so most of my editing on the YouTube is just cutting out ums, and I know the shape of them now, which is the creepy thing.
Wow, like you see the sound.
Yeah, so on the audio banner, it's like, it does this. It looks like Ayers Rock. I'm like, there's an cut that. There's an cut that.
So you don't have to play it.
I just know now. Like, I've just edited so many of Liana talking. And she's getting better though. Like,
I wonder if Tam has those for us.
Surely.
So specific.
Yeah. Different shapes.
But Tam doesn't tell us anymore. So like, there's obviously, we go through phases of overusing certain words or sounds or whatever, and Tam doesn't tell us anymore because he knows we freak out about it.
Yeah. Do you find, what's your strategy of getting out of a phase of like saying a word too much? Do you become conscious of it?
I think a lot of the time it just wears off. The best strategy is just watching the pod back, and I hate myself.
I haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
I felt bad. I should give a shout out to Jackson actually, because I did my new professional podcast at Alex's amazing studio, and I did this great introduction for Jason, and then I didn't introduce Jackson. And I told him afterwards, like, he's like, I'll just go fuck myself then. Like, he's just sitting there while I'm introducing Jackson, and then we get into it. I'm like, oh, messed up. So it's like, it's new for me as like hosting. It's fun.
So just to be clear, we do the intro later.
Yeah, right.
I record the intro after we're done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a good strategy.
So instead of like starting this conversation with like, now tell us about yourself, Adrian, it'll just be like, Adrian's on the pod today, blah, blah, blah. So
that's like a...
conversation starts neutral.
Yeah, it's like a Chris Williamson strat, right? He does that.
That's where I got it from, yeah. Jordan does it too, Shelly.
Yeah, because then I think I was listening to one of his vlogs, and he's like, not many people do this anymore. I'm like, seems to make sense to me, because it... or else you start off with this weird robotic conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually really struggle with podcasts now because I do them.
Yeah.
Especially in niche areas of like something specific I want to know.
Yep.
Business ones are the worst. And it's like, now today I have Adrian from Grounded Strength. Tell us about yourself. I'm like, shoot me in the fucking head. Have a conversation.
Just like talk to them like a human being, because that's what they are first, and then they've just done somewhat exceptional things in business.
Yeah, it's what like podcasting was 15 years ago.
The military ones are good. I watch a heap of Sean something, and he just gets a heap of military guys on there.
Yep.
And they don't give a fuck about anything because they've been shot at. And so...
Nothing else matters after that point.
There's no real introduction. They don't really talk about rank or anything like that. They just talk about the experiences that they had in the military and all of that. It just has this really sort of gritty flow to it.
Yep.
But that's a good strategy. I like that because, I felt like afterwards I like, it's just gassed up Jason pretty much. And then after that, I was like, okay, now I get into the questions. Whereas if it's just this nice, cool.
We used to get a whiteboard out and write it all down and have all of that, and then be like, today we're going to talk about these 5 points, and then we realized half the time we wouldn't.
Yep.
We'd miss some, or we'd go off on a tangent. So we decided to just record. Usually, I have notes on my phone.
Yep.
And then after the episode, introduce what we're going to talk about as well.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great strategy. I mean, I think from a point of view of like getting better at conversation, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's such a skill, and that's what I'm finding that I'm getting better at with being on podcasts more, talking more, obviously, with clients. I found, like, when I journal now, like I do that in the morning, I've gotten better at conversation because of that. It's just really weird. I don't know how what the carryover is with that.
I had someone ask me about that recently, though. Like how it was a shock to me. He's like, you articulate yourself very well. I'm like, you sure about that? He's like, how did you get there? And I said writing.
Yeah.
Like writing, initially it was content obviously for clients, resources, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously it was another level for PTs. And now I'm actually finding them going the other way. I'm finding all my old PT content. A lot of the blogs that I'm writing at the moment are old PT content delivered to a client.
Yep.
So it's like, how do I pull this back?
Because what is it? It's a third. You have to speak in what's the average? It's a third grade.
Fourth grade, I think. Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Because I can't even remember how I spoke in the third grade. So what does that sound like?
Yeah. Well, it's a reading level, right? But it is a big shock when you... I know back when I was writing the complicated ones, I used to give it to the editor and get it back, and I didn't like them.
What, because he simplified it? Or?
Yeah, and that was still... Like, I read them now, like, this is a hard read. But so what was my version like?
Yeah, shit.
Yeah. So now it's, like, much more simple. The client feedback is like, oh, this is amazing. I'm like,
great.
Yeah, I hate it, but okay.
I think it just comes with the skill. Like, now I've, like, with my content as well, like, just, it's obviously just ludicrous what I'm doing. But if I can get a key point across and make it as stupid as possible...
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a win. That's,
nailed it.
Because again, same with you, the feedback of getting like, oh, it's funny, but then people at the gym are saying, oh, I followed your video and I did this. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. Why are you listening to me for?
Yeah, that's the coolest part.
Which is interesting because then it gives me, because when when it shifted was from when I got back from Queensland, the clean health thing, and Jackson Pios spoke a lot about imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And he said, if you have imposter syndrome, you're in the right room.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is fucking nuts when you think about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I asked to come on here, and now I'm just like, okay, well, how many rooms can I get into that make me feel like I'm a fraud and an imposter? I shouldn't be there.
To force you to be good enough.
Yeah.
To be in there,
So, I'm like, ran the 3 workshops.
Yeah.
They went off. Every single one I felt like I cannot do this. I shouldn't do this. And, you know, at the end, they're always asking for feedback. And they're like, it was brilliant. You know, like, I pay for this. And I'm like, well, that's nuts. Like, I don't know if that feeling will ever go away, which is a good thing because I obviously set a very, very high standard for myself. But just the way that he put that is like, you know, if you're comfortable in a room, which I mean, obviously you gain some level of comfort, but to a point where you just, whatever.
I like taking that into training too.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people find that comfort zone with their training and just sit there as well.
Yeah, we look at it like go into any gym, can be any gym, and what are most people doing? They're sitting on their phone.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like they're still doing the same 10 machines they've been doing for a year, or like the same program or whatever. Like they're not willing to the same weight on the same exercise for so long, which I get. Like some people don't go to the gym for the reasons we do, in terms of like must progress at all costs.
Yeah, I've been tossing and turning with that. I'm just like, everybody wants results.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck who you are and what it is. Like you want to get results. I think you just get complacent, and I think a lot of people forget about how to actually train close to their limit.
Yeah.
You know, they might not have someone, you know, a coach, for example, like either of us, or a more experienced training partner that's going to get them to move up that rung, because it's all too easy, like you said, to get in that, I'm doing 4 sets of this, 4 sets of that, 4 sets of that, when really probably the first 2 sets are most productive, and then you just fuck around for the other 2.
Yeah.
So, I've been tossing and turning with that. Like, oh yeah, some people, you know, go for the gym for different reasons. Absolutely. Like, you know, mental health and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, you're there for results. So, you know, I think it comes down to us being like, you know, talking to them, obviously. And I think most people will be pretty, you know, open to being helped at that point. Because, like, fuck, you've been doing that for 3 years? Like, Jesus. Like, like, that's just like going to work and not getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pointless.
Yeah. Or just, not moving forwards. Yeah. Been on the same money, doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think there's just so much more to get out of the gym than that.
Yeah, it's just, I think where it comes into with the imposter syndrome is the fact that, you know, a lot of people, they don't feel as though, oh, I'm ready to push that hard, or, you know, take things serious, or whatever it may be, the excuse that they play around in their head with. But ultimately, you know, you just haven't been there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of fear of unknown too. And like, I think it's the coolest takeaway is us sitting here saying like, I still feel like I'm out of my depth, and I can still find rooms in training that I feel out of my depth.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to train with Matt Orchard on Friday.
Cool.
We're going to do a chest session. He's going to teach me how to pose. I'm fucking terrified. I'm like, all right, I got 10. I got to make sure I eat really well this week, so I'm the least fluffy I can possibly be. I'm still going to look like an infant standing next to him. But like, even just the sessions, like, I did hypertrophy for a long time. I still back myself to understand hypertrophy.
Of course.
It's like you stand next to a pro bodybuilder.
It's a different thing.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is a different thing.
Yeah, but it's just like, you know, we're both coach incredible powerlifters. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I look at, you know, my 2 strongest guys, Vito and Zave, and I'm like, it's hilarious. Like, there is no way on planet Earth can I catch these guys.
Yeah.
You know, and that's I think the funnest part about coaching is just the huge differences that you see in people. Like, you know, when you train with Matt, you'll just be like, how did the human body even look like that? Yeah, it's just bizarre.
Yeah, but I think at maybe like a client level, it's like, what's that for you? Like, is it hiring a coach? Is it training with someone else? Is it going to a different gym? Is it trying a different exercise? Is it finally getting a new program? Is it, you know what, I am going to track 7 days instead of half track for 4 and then fuck off on the weekend. Like, what is that step? I've been playing with it heaps, because I think after competing, and it's interesting because we're both in really different spots. Like, your mentality is probably where mine was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was still competing. Whereas, like, nothing in the world matters more than my total. And that is it.
Just get fucking tattooed, crossed off every meet.
And now it's like, okay, everything else matters more than that, but I have 5 hours a week, and I can control my food.
Yeah.
So what's the uncomfortable thing that I can do within that realm?
Yeah.
So for me, it's our photo shoot. Just trying a strategy for that. It's like, okay, how do I maximize the next 20 weeks before that?
I think the other side of it is the fact that, you know, you're still, what makes you uncomfortable is, you know, you're still planning to do training. Like, it's so easy for it to fall on the wayside. Like, you guys have got so much fucking going on, but you've decided to still undergo the struggle and the challenge of, okay, I can still fit this in. I can still push. I've still got goals. You know, that on its own is still, you know, amazing, because there's so many people in the same position as you, opening X amount of businesses and absolutely flying, who are like, whatever, I can just let my diet slide, or this can slide. But you've chosen to choose the hard path, which is, you know, you've had a baby, you've got all this other fucking shit going on, and you're like, no, still train.
Yeah.
Like, that's to be commended.
Yeah.
You know, that's the true thing that you can.
To be honest, this side I don't go fucking mental, but
yeah, but if you're still progressing, then whatever.
I get it. I appreciate it,
because it's, you know, the differences of what, you know, I'm trying to do, and, you know, I'm sure I'll get there at one point where it's just like, yeah, I'm training and I'm trying to add a, you know, different mentality to it. But I think, you know, if you're still incorporating the daily struggle of, you know, pushing yourself, and it's a win.
Yeah. So I wanna before we talk about bodybuilding, because I didn't know until recently. I don't know how many people know. You're a gamer nerd.
Yeah, I am big.
So gamer nerd first, then mountain biking.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my first game that I truly went absolutely bananas with was Halo. So that came back out in 2001. I was 11 at the time. All I did was buy magazines, all about Halo. My friend up the street at the time had Halo, and we'd play disgusting amount of hours.
So you didn't even have it?
I didn't even have it.
That's sick.
So my mum, bless her, and she's definitely the biggest part for me with all my upskilling and stuff like that. So she would help me with anything educational, money-wise.
Yep.
She would not help me with anything for play. So I had to do that myself. At the time, I was working at a fucking pharmacy, like literally picking staples out of pages for fuck all money. So I saved up for an Xbox, bought it, got Halo, and yeah, just, you know, that's really just, it started the love for it. And then I started to, you know, learn, there's a competitive scene with it. And so, you know, me and my friends used to, in high school, there was like 20 of us, hook up 4 or 5 CRT TVs, play Halo 1 and 2 for 16 hours straight, more.
Yeah,
so I don't know if the camera can see that, but my thumb does that now. So that's all from Halo 2.
Fuck.
So yeah, I competed in.
Wild.
Yeah.
My closest reference to that is, like, I don't know if you ever played Smash Party on Mario Brothers on the 64.
Yeah.
You get the blister on your palm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But an actual, like, thumb that's dislocated, that's another level.
Yeah, so that's just from a multitude of playing Halo 2, which in my opinion is still the greatest game of all time. It has not been topped from anything. And hence, you know, I'll get into it. But yeah, so anyway, played Halo 2, played on teams with that, landed that in Melbourne. Then Call of Duty 4 came out, and this was actually the first time. No, I forget which order it came out. I think it was Halo 3, and that was the first Halo that I actually got an internet connection. Yep. So before that, I wasn't allowed to have the internet. And then I got the internet connection, and fuck, that's where the life was just the smell of Red Bull and late nights and, you know, screaming absolutely heinous shit in like the pre and post game lobbies. And, you know, competitive in that, you know, land around Australia and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, I really had aspirations that I wanted to go to America and play pro. But, you know, my parents were not, you know, conducive to that goal, which is fair.
I'm a pretty open dude, and I'm still like, how the fuck do you do that?
You can't do it in Australia. Yeah. It's not possible. Because, like, you know, goes down into another thing. If, like, you're really good in Australia, as far as, like, just choose any game, right? You're a big fish in a small pond. It's like you can just flex on absolutely everyone. You go to America, you're going to get absolutely hosed by mid to low tier teams. Yep. Like, there is just no contest. And you see this in Counter-Strike when the Australians go and play in Europe. They get beaten by low 40 ladder teams, which is, you know, nothing. So you're like, holy shit, how good are these guys at the top? Yeah. And, you know, with our internet connection and all this other stuff, you just can't Like, I mean, power to the people that do. I mean, I'm sure it's a bit more possible now.
Yeah.
You know, because you can stream and you can build obviously a social profile and eventually go, okay, I'm making enough.
a different way.
Exactly. You make enough money, you can move to US. But at the point in time that I was doing it, was really on the cusp of where, okay, is this gaming thing going to take off? Like Counter-Strike was really king. And then Halo and Major League Gaming came out and tried to push it as this sort of, you know, mainstream sort of thing. And, you know, a few of the guys obviously from Australia went. This is when I sort of stopped playing. And again, they just got absolutely hosed.
That's wild.
You know, because again, it's that big fish in the small
I've heard it heaps with soccer.
Yep.
Like you can be really good at soccer here and you go play in Europe one season and it's like, nah.
It's over.
It's not the same.
Yeah. So again, you know, we just do not have a population density that is conducive to you fighting other people or playing against other people that are good.
Yeah.
You know, whereas you look in America and you go, okay, well, there's a million of those people that are 0.1% of the population that are really good at something.
Correct. Yeah. When you're 350 million versus 25 million.
Yeah, it's hilarious. You know, we're like a suburb.
Yeah. One city.
So yeah, then I played a lot of Call of Duty. Was in the top 2 ladder team for a long time on one of the forums for that. And, you know, honestly, really, really enjoyed my time. Like, I was always team captain when I made teams, which I guess is, you know, got some sort of bleed-on effect for me being a coach now. I was never really, you know, I'd say I was good at the games, but I was more good at getting better people to play with me.
Yeah.
And then they would just carry me. But but for most of the time, like those players, they're very good individually, but they would suck as a team, and I would help them develop that, which is pretty cool. And then probably the last game that I played competitively would have been, I think it was Halo 5, and then I was playing Gears of War at the same time as well. So both of those were sort of the last sort of hurrah with me. It was probably a bit of an ultimatum from Liana, to be honest, which is fair. Because how old was I? I was thinking 25 or something at the time. Yeah. And I was like, I'm pretty past where I need to go with this. And I just had to get rid of it. And, you know, after getting rid of completely everything, like got rid of my computer, Xbox, or everything that I was involved with games, I started to realize that, yes, I was enjoying the time that I was playing, but also at the same time, it was a complete escape for me.
Of course.
I was escaping the realities of what I wasn't doing and putting them into gaming. Now, that's not to say that sort of stuff is like good, like being able to play stuff and have fun, like absolutely. But, you know, if you find that it's just this all-consuming thing and you feel like you can't function without it, and, you know, they're designed to keep you playing, because it's like, you look at Call of Duty, right? You kill someone, it's like, I got 50 medals. Where in life do you do anything and you get that sort of reward? So, you know, there's... you really, once you sort of start to see the matrix with them, you go, it's not bad, but if you can, you know, you need to definitely be able to manage it and not end up with a thumb like that. Because, but in all honesty, like when I was playing, you know, it was so much more social. Like, you know, we'd get a room like this, we'd have fucking 16 boys in there, pizza, talking shit. Like it was and that's what I miss. Yeah. You know, now it's just headset on, I'm alone in my room. Yeah. Sure, we're talking shit with the boys, but they're not there. Yeah. So, you know, that's really what I miss, and it's never going to really go back to that. Yeah. You know, which is a shame, I think, because like...
You got too much good tech at home, too.
Exactly. Move it. And it's cheap. You can fucking order a new part and, you know... But, yeah, I do, you know, miss the good old days of... Yeah. You know,
if there was a thing that was going to stop me training, it's sim racing.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, see, I can't get it. Like, I'm obviously in prep at the moment with bodybuilding, and I'm bored as fuck, and I need to do something. And like, there's this sick new Space Marine game coming out, but I'm on the cusp. I'm like, am I ready to actually just play this for 2 hours and just go, that was it, that was fun, I had a good time with my mates, and call it? Yeah. Or is it going to have a cascading effect, and I'm just going to be lost again? Yeah.
But I know I have that button. And like, it was even when I started golf, I was like, I'm not watching anything on fucking YouTube about it. I don't want to know. I watch like one tutorial, and then I watch like the entertainment stuff, but I don't watch anything of like how to be good at it. Because I'm like, I know what my brain will do, and I'll be like, fuck it, I'm quitting everything, becoming a golfer. Like, I have that button, so with sim racing, I'm like real careful to be, because I love it. And like, if I had a choice, if someone was like, hand over your entire career right now and become a race car driver, I'm like, okay, have it. Like, I'm going.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
that's like from this big dream, and it's like it's so close, and it's like I always similar to like I think what you have said about mountain biking, just like the money involved in motorsport. There's always just that little chip of just like, oh, if I was rich, I would have made it.
It's extra. Like I think that's where gaming's just like, you know, you can take over because the price of entry is pretty small. You know, there's lots of great, cool stories to come out of, you know, people playing in impoverished countries, and then they go pro and they can literally move their whole house to their whole family to a new house and stuff. So it's nuts. But yeah, and then I think after the gaming, that's when I started like training again, because you know when I competed the first time in 2014, afterwards I didn't train for 2 years.
Yeah, well, cooked you?
Yeah, just had no idea what I was doing in the gym. I walked in one day and I was like, "Why am I here?"
Yeah.
I did have a coach at the time, but I forget what happened afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a different, obviously, structure to how coaching is now, or what I'm used to with you guys, and obviously everything else. So yeah, there was no obviously idea of what to do next. So at that point, I think I went back into gaming again, and then the mountain biking thing was weird, like where that came from. I think I just saw a random video on YouTube once, and I was like, by this Aussie guy called Sam Hill, and who's a freak. If you're going to watch any sort of downhill mountain biking stuff, type in Sam Hill best of, and it's just insane.
Yep.
And so, that just sort of just spawned. I think I started racing in that when I was 19, and I just got my license, so it was awesome. So I was sleeping in the back of my Camry wagon and, you know, all up in the high country every weekend, which was sick.
Yeah. Again, it's a community vibe though, hey?
Yeah.
Who you go with and all of that.
I think any community that has a level of risk is fun because instantly you can talk to someone. So when using jiu-jitsu as an example, that's fantastic. Like you have someone's ass in your face, sweating, and they fart on you. It's like, we're best friends now.
Yeah.
When the same goes with mountain biking, because it's so fucking hectic.
Yeah.
You know, at the bottom of the run.
Bit of respect straight away.
So straight away, like, how'd you hit this? Like, what that? The other sport that I did, you know, I just did for fun for a little bit, and is, you know, for any single guys out there want to, like, you know, get good at talking to women, do bouldering.
Yep.
Fuck.
Yep.
The amount of conversations I had in one like session, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Because like instantly, like, whoa, you see someone do something, a puzzle or whatever, and you're like, where'd you start, and foot placement, and you know, I was like, damn, this shit's like amazing for a community, and I can see why people do it.
Yeah, I used to find that I did a lot of BMX riding all through high school, and it was the same. It was just like the older guys always took care of the younger kids, and it was there was no like. There was an unspoken hierarchy. There was a handful of dudes that like if they walked up to the side of the bowl, you get the fuck out the way. But it was never implied. It was never like told. It was just it was more out of respect than it was out of demand. And then it's like, how did you do that? Like, we used to have we called them the dippers, and there was like there were certain jumps that were like, once you've done this, you have a certain level of respect, and then when
shake
you do
one finger,
it's like then when you do this one, like that's another, and that's another, and that. So it was like a known kind of tradition that like that was, and I don't know how long that had been running before I was there, but it was a really cool, similar thing. It's like, oh, you've done the Gravedigger, like you can ride. Yeah,
I feel like that's missing in a lot of community stuff now. It's like here you can have access to everything all of a sudden. It's like, I don't know. Like, how does that sort of service the people that have been doing it for longer than you?
Yeah. And
also that, like, that's why I love jiu-jitsu when I was doing it, is that it is this rank thing, and you have to wait for a high belt to invite you in to roll with them, and it's this whole thing of like, whoa, the fucking black belt invites me over, and you know, it's really, really cool like that. And
do you think powerlifting has it?
I think it would be at a certain gyms for sure.
Yeah.
Which I would do for 100%.
My experience of powerlifting has been that.
Yeah.
Is like, you kind of pay homage to the OGs naturally.
Yep.
And then the strong. Yeah, I've never seen really strong people be that successful when they want to tell everyone else that they're stronger than them.
I don't think they need to.
Yeah. I went set for set with Krusner one day, and I think we were literally taking like 120 kilos off the bar, man. And he was like just as excited for my top set as his, and I was like, "This is sick."
Well, that's the best thing about it. You know, I keep saying this to everyone who's nervous for our lift off. It's like, don't think about it from a sense of the weight that you're going to be lifting.
Yeah.
More so, just enjoy the fact that you're around people that are all doing the same thing and want the best out of you. That is fucking rare.
Yeah. Yeah. That's this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunday.
It's sick. The last grounded one we did, had one of my clients in it, and she's like, after I think her second squat, she's like, someone said my name. I don't even know who they are. Like, cheered for her in her squat. It's like, I don't even know who it is. Like, welcome.
Yeah. It's so good I think it's so good for people because, you know, you can get so easily lost in day to day and no one knows, you know, what you do and, you know, you feel like, oh, no one else wants to do this. And then you find that click and it just makes such a huge difference.
It's that same thing, right? There's that knowing, the understanding of respect of like, I see what you're doing over there.
Yeah.
I know that's hard.
Which is, I think bodybuilding does have that a little bit, but it's just more visual than like an actual performance-based thing. I think you can obviously get it with like an insane set. Like,
I think there's subgroups in bodybuilding that have it, but I also think there's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of, as much as you want to admit it or not, it attracts that like narcissistic personality.
Absolutely.
So there's, layer that in with then you being compared standing side by side based on your appearance and a few other bits and pieces, and you get a little bit like, I can see why this can be a bit of a toxic environment.
Yeah.
But then you can hang out with some people. Like, I've been chatting to Matt a bit. He's like, oh man, your front double bi looks great. I'm like,
yeah, because the great thing with Matt is he's pushed the boundaries of like how far he can take it with competing. So he's gone overseas. He's gone up against the best, which, you know, humbles you, because if you're willing to put yourself up against people that you know potentially you're just going to get absolutely smoked by, purely just to go, okay, I need to get bigger here, and here. Yeah. Fuck, you're going to be humble with everyone. Yeah. I think, you know, again, like I've been humming onto this. That's the whole thing of, you know, big fish in a small pond. Like, you see these giant guys in the gym, just in the gym. Yeah. You know, that's all they do. They go in there, they pump up, they look amazing in the gym. But it's like, where have they taken that, and where have they, you know, spread off their knowledge to someone else? Like, that's, you know, that's the beauty, I think, with Matt. Like, he seems a very, like, I haven't known him, but he seems like a very obviously approachable guy, and, you know, super just passionate with this, you know, the weirdness of bodybuilding. Yeah, and most people I know in the space, because I don't know a lot of bodybuilders, most of them are in the STC web, the ones that I know that compete. Even for me, though, like, not competing, I'm like, fuck, just being willing to step on the stage, like, hat tip straight away. Absolutely. Like, yeah, and it's the same. It's the mountain biking thing at the bottom of the run. You're like, whew, some sketchy today. Yeah. Like, no, I agree. It's a funny thing. Like, and I'm interested to see how my mentality's changed from 10 years ago, doing exactly the same show. You know, and just see, I don't think I had what I have now. Obviously, got a great relationship with Jason, and he's built me into a bodybuilding just organism. You know, it's all I do, all I think about, all I want to get better at this stage, because the carry on effect that it's had with my business, I've gotten better. All the things that I've introduced from bodybuilding into business now, like, is improved that. And as well as just as generally as a man, I feel like I'm more in the level of confidence that I've never had before. Yeah, it's awesome. My next question was going to be, do you think it positively affects relationships and stuff as well? I think it's if you feel more comfortable as I think it depends. Yeah, it's a hard question to answer. I think, again, it's an environmental thing, you know. Like, I'm close friends with you and Jason, and you guys, you know, all take training very seriously, but then, you know how not to. Yeah. So, you know, if you're just in a bubble of too much of it, I think, you know, there's going to be a breaking point there that potentially it blows off into a relationship or whatever else. But, you know, me and Liana have got things in place that allow us to go, okay, well, we're full on in the gym, and then we've got these steps in day-to-day life. Like, Sundays, I'll do fucking whatever it is day. Like, we just go, I want to go check out that new Egypt. thing in the museum.
Yeah.
Just like something that's not related to it. And I think that is the way that you balance it out, even though balance is, I think, a lie.
Yeah.
It's a psyop from the government to make you work hard.
Yeah. I know, like, I don't want to speak for Jace at all, but I know for me, having a partner who's on the fringe of the industry, when I say fringe, like goes to the gym, is super involved, has been always with the business, but doesn't live and breathe it. It's not like what she wakes up excited about in the morning.
Yep.
So I think that is useful. So it's like, there's a powerlifting comp on this weekend. She don't want to go.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'll do something else. So I think it that puts a little bit of a barrier, especially when I was competing.
Yep. Put
a bit of a barrier to be like, hey, you're actually, like, let's go overseas and you don't have to find a gym in every single fucking town you go to.
Yeah, and, I guess we're very similar in the sense that we'll find stuff that we're interested in and go, cool, I'm this now forever.
This is my entire personality.
Having Liana tell me, that, not to say that it's not, but also just, push me into doing other stuff, because ultimately I just live on YouTube and just watch bodybuilders all day if I had my own thing, and that's where I think Ruffles comes in as well. Like, he's a great distraction from it. But yeah, it's a funny thing, because I really do want to go and see how far I can sort of push it with this, but also at the same time, I don't want it to be what happened last time, where I don't train afterwards, and I'm like, what do I do? What happens now? And that's my greatest fear. I know that it won't happen, because obviously Jason won't let it happen either. But ultimately, I'm really fucking enjoying it.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it, and it's rough for me to say. I'm like, this is the happiest I've ever been, and it's also the most amount of struggle I've had, which is really weird. So it's like biggest amount of push in business that's scaring the absolute fuck out of me. And then as well as, writing down some of the goals that I want to do terrifies me. But it's like, okay, well, there's something to that. It's like, I don't feel comfortable, but I feel really happy.
Yeah.
And that's what it's given me.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, I can speak to that. Just my challenge as a 5-month-old instead of bodybuilding.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's
but yeah, like business, family, and then like still choosing. Again, it's all the hardest part, I think, is when you start to get to this stage. It's like, don't complain about the thing that you asked for.
Nah,
like that's the
just complaining in general.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, this diet's kicking my ass. Stop the diet.
Yeah.
I can't. Well,
yeah.
Which is
it then?
What do you want?
Yeah,
you want just like throwing the reel out, like, please, just give me something.
Yeah.
It's like, just shut the fuck up about it, and like, okay, it's hard. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a choice.
Yeah.
And the choice of the hard is the good thing, and that's what gives the rewards. So you've got to obviously stay present with that. And there's times where you won't, but that's the goal, right? There's
a great quote about that. I'll get it up on my phone. It's all about the sort of being lost in the struggle. This is from Dr. Marcus Elliott, which is the NBA's top exercise scientist. Engaging in a challenging environment where there's a high probability of failure, even if you execute perfectly, has huge ramifications for helping you lose a fear of failing, and discovering your true potential.
Yeah, that's sick.
I read that and I was like, goosebumps.
The playing in an arena where even if you're perfect, you can fail.
Yeah, especially
that's
for
sick.
You as well. Like, I think it's
sick.
Maybe bringing up a little human being.
Yeah.
Who knows how to do that?
Not me yet.
No one.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. It's interesting coming back to like the not training after competing thing. I actually had this conversation with a client yesterday, like learning to enjoy training, and training giving you the thing, whatever that is that you're going to get from training, is different for everybody. We talk about values and all that kind of stuff, but whatever it is you're getting on a daily basis out of going to the gym, whether it's structure, it's control, it's winning, it's doing, that's the hardest part of your day and everything else feels easier, or it's just like feeling of progress, the reward of feeling accomplished or competent, or being able to rely on yourself and trust yourself, or whatever it is that every day you get out of just doing the session, that has to be number one. And then it's really fun to layer on top of that some tangibles.
I agree.
And I think if you go the other way, you're fucked.
Yep, and that's what happened to me. I'm going to say, I reckon. I think I was training for long enough. It was like 5-something years before I was like, it was 2 other mates that we all went in initially together, and then it was really only me and I think, my one other mate that did it. And I think I just hadn't had, I guess, a better relationship with the coach I had at the time for him to put in those stops of like, okay, are you actually enjoying this right now? Like, are you just suffering along just for the sake of like, I'm a bodybuilder and it has to fucking suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. And, I've got some people who on the team who want to compete and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, you need to really fucking enjoy this first, because you're going to get into the gym and it's literally going to be a break between each meal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be anything that you're like, oh, fuck, I feel like I'm actually working towards goals and all this sort of stuff. Of course, you push yourself, but ultimately at the very end of it, that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours to not think about eating. So it's like, you better be sure that you enjoy the space, and and no matter where you're training, you enjoy it as well. It's like not just a specific gym and whatever else. You just have to have the passion for for training before even thinking about anything.
Yeah, and I think the lesson for that is to take outside of bodybuilding or even competing or anything. I see it with clients that are like, if I didn't lose weight this week, it's a failure. If I didn't whatever this week, it's a failure.
Yep.
And then because it's a failure, next week's shit,
and
then the next or the day shit, or I binge or I whatever. It's like you've lost the micro part of like, what's the day-to-day thing that you enjoy doing, and then like, let's just put some fun structure around that and be like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if I was leaner. It'd be fun to play with the boundaries that come with that, like controlling my nutrition a bit more, or training a bit harder, doing a bit more cardio, or whatever comes with that, to then be like, by this day, I'm really curious what I can do.
Yeah.
Instead of, like I said, starting from, this isn't a good thing unless I look like this or can perform like this or lift like this or whatever. It's
just an outcome goal.
Every time I see people in that space, it becomes, and I've been there too. I reckon, like, I think I would still be powerlifting if we didn't have a 2-year lockdown.
Do you think you'd still be a good powerlifting now, but training powerlifters at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd still have the spread that I have now in terms of, because I never only, I think I tried to be a powerlifting coach specifically for like 3 months.
No, but I mean, like, just you feeling as though you're able to separate your own training from the people that you're training. So part of the reason why I think I'm being quite successful with getting people strong really quickly at the moment is because I'm not doing it. Yeah. And it makes me fucking love it. I'm like, this is so cool. Yeah. Because it's not what I'm doing right now. Yeah. And, and the great thing is, I learned this from you guys, is not to push what I'm doing onto my clients. Yeah. I don't want any of them to do bodybuilding because it's fucking terrible. Like, anyone that wants to do it, like, awesome, but also like, it is terrible. Yeah. Getting strong is really fun. So for me, it's like I've got this great parallel of like, I'm doing this stuff just for me, but then I've got this great fucking fun coaching powerlifters, which is sick. Because for me, I love the powerlifting competition. It's black and white. You're stronger than that person, you win. Yeah. Bodybuilding, fuck knows what happens. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I've definitely noticed from a coaching standpoint is I'm probably more excited about attending comps and just like that last block with my clients. But also it allows me, because I'm super neurotic, obviously, it allows me to be less emotional with my client decision as well. It's like, no, you're gonna be fine. Like, this is, I still had it when I was training, but I was more minutia. This tiny little thing's gonna matter, which then got pushed onto the client, which probably made like it feel more complex to them. Whereas generally, I pride myself as removing complexity for my clients as much as possible. It's like, just do this, you'll be fine. But I think like everything we've talked about today is like the community, the hang, the mutual respect with the other people, the fist bump after the lift, and all that sort of stuff. I think I liked that more than I liked powerlifting. I liked the days I trained by myself, but I really liked the days where I trained with other people and I was the skinniest dude in the room and I had no idea what I was doing early on and all that kind of stuff. Like, I really enjoyed that. And then I had to train out of a garage and I was like, it was painful.
Doing your washing
at
the
same time. It was like, this is not giving me
the same thing
what it used to. And my goal when I started was to qualify for nationals, and I did. And I was still like, the season didn't hit.
Yep.
Like, it just looking back at it, I was like, meh. And then obviously we moved. Because I'd fallen out of love with it when we moved, the gym I went to was like, I can't really train for a powerlifting competition here. I could try, but it's not going to be great. I probably have to bring all my own equipment in to be like, you can have this. It needs to go here, and I'm going to use it, which I did with my safety bar.
Should chain everything together.
Because I would kind of fallen out of love with it anyway. I wasn't really actively doing it. I was like, I'm just going to train. And that's actually led me down now to play with body composition again, which is, I didn't stop bodybuilding training. I started powerlifting because what you just said, the barbell's a barbell. And I was in a place where get up, had too much salt, looked like shit, that's a bad day.
Yep. Had
not enough salt, look skinny,
yep,
bad day.
Hence why I train in oversized stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the distraction of A, other people looking, but also B, me looking at myself and going, disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because, you know, like, have you watched the Arnold documentary on Netflix?
The latest one?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, in his...
Have I?
Towards the end of his bodybuilding career, he's, you know... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's the one that goes in with politics and shit.
Yeah. It's essentially like his biography, but in visual form.
Yeah.
And anyway, he talks about, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger's fucking best bodybuilder of all time. And he goes, how can anyone look at this? Like, it's disgusting. Like, everything, every time, every pose he said, it's just like, this is just, how can anyone, how can I be 8 times, well, 7, whatever, many times Olympia?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Okay, so there's the best person in the world at that time, and still probably, arguably ever. He's saying that.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, okay. That's just, you know, how it can be.
Yeah.
But I think you become more accepting of that, especially I think with good coaching. You know, Jason's really good at that. He doesn't really gas up. You know, it'll be very, very small doses of like, looking good here, but let's just, you know, focus up. What are the non-negotiables? Tick this box, tick that.
Yeah.
And then that takes the emotion out of it. It's like, oh, if I just do...
The win's the week.
Exactly. If I just do that every day, no matter how mid it feels... The result will occur. And I think that's the biggest thing with almost all people that get involved with training is they just pour their emotion into it, which is, you know, an early thing. Like, we are very emotional things. But, you know, the more emotion that you can pull out of it and go, oh, it's just a shit day or whatever happened, you know, Mercury retrograde or whatever you want to say. It's like, I trained with someone who wasn't my star sign. So it's like, you know, I think the more that I get, you know, involved in the sport and why I enjoy it so much more now is that the fact is I can just switch that emotion switch off. And I just go in there and I go as hard as possible I can on the given day. Do I get an extra rep on maybe one exercise? Excellent, it's a good day. Yeah.
I'm going to use that. The week's the thing. Like, the week's the goal, not the outcome.
No.
Like, how was your week?
Yep.
You show up, you did all the things.
Did you be a bodybuilder this week?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was a bodybuilder.
And you should, that's like a tick. Yep. Hold yourself higher.
I LARPed as a bodybuilder this week.
Yeah. So coming back to, I guess, like, the training style shift, coming back to, I don't even say bodybuilding training because, like,
it's the same shit.
It's imposter syndrome. Yeah. Right? I'm not a bodybuilder. I just lift weights.
You just call it accessories.
Yeah. I just start my workout.
I'm accessorizing.
I start my workout on machine accessories now. I'm just like 100 weeks out.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, I think reflecting on what I was getting out of powerlifting that I don't even really have access to now. Like, I can't tee someone up to train at 6:15 4 times a week that's going to train exactly like me and want to do. It's not going to work. Back then, I could be like, cool, there's 8 of us that train at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. And that would work. So now it's more just like, cool, this is the thing that I do. What do I get out of it? And cool, these are the things that when I leave the gym, I'm happy about.
Yeah, cool.
And then, sure, I'll take a photo and I'll do measurements and I'll do the photo shoot and I'll put last year to this year and I'll do all that shit. And it'll still be, that's still the thing we're chipping away at. But it's what am I getting out of it every time I go?
Yep.
That's the most important. And then going, well, powerlifting used to give me community. Where do I get that? So it's like, all right, well, once a month, STC runs a training day.
Yep.
And anytime someone messages me like, we should catch up, most people I talk to train. It's like, cool, we're going to do a workout. Like, it's always, well, let's still create that and look for those opportunities to do it and still find that outcome even though you can't do it every single day.
Well, that's the goal. That's my thing with the lift-offs and the workshops. It's got nothing to do with the lifting of the weights or how strong you are or how much you learn on the workshops or whatever. I couldn't give a fuck about that. I care about people meeting other people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Because I know that that's going to make people more accountable because then they realize that they've got a team behind them that can do the same shit and they don't feel isolated.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, none of my other friends are doing this. Guess what? I've got 20 other people that are, and they're all fucking lunatics like you. You know, here you go.
Yeah,
like
and they all like me, which means there's a chance that you'll like them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it was, I was talking about this with one of my clients, and I go, it's really weird that most of all my clients have exactly the same stupid amount of standard that they hold for themselves too.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. Like, I talk to my clients and I'm like, I've thought about that yesterday. So again, you know, putting all those people in a room is just going to enable them to A, relax, and B, you know, become better.
I just laughing at myself because I talk. One of the number one things I do is I talk down my clients, not down to them, talk them down off the ledge. Like, hey, it's okay. We're actually doing great. Look at the data. I got to check in this week. Like, nutrition was 2 and they lost 200 grams and the measurements were down.
I fucking love the rating. It's so
I was like, bruh.
I blast people all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, the macros were within like 5% on every one. I was like, dude, this is a 5 to me.
Yep.
Like, what do you think? And then I'll be like, nah, my fucking business is shit.
Yeah.
Not even that successful.
It's so funny because I had this woman on the team, you know, she is going through a cut for the first time. First time ever being hungry, deficit, whatever. You know, and so in my head when I set it up, I go, okay, you know, she's going to be feeling this, this, and this, and this. And, you know, it's going to be horrible, you know, for her because it's going to be the first sort of time where it's been like quite an intense struggle. And, you know, first sort of few weeks go by and she hasn't lost any weight. And, you know, just sort of obviously, you know, just question her like, oh, what do you think, you know, what do you think's happening? She's like, oh, I'm just, you know, hungry all the time. I'm like, yeah, well, that's normal. She's like, I just don't think I can do it. I go, in the last 2 weeks, even though you haven't lost any weight, your sleep's improved. You've meal prepped every day. You've trained on low calories, but we're probably still maintenance anyway. But anyway, so that's improved. Your overall idea of like, you know, your expectations of like, oh, this, you know, losing weight's easy. It's just being completely blown out of proportion. So the wins that you've had from not losing weight outweigh losing weight. And then all of a sudden after that's happened, that's when the weight loss starts to happen. Yeah. I feel like that needs to happen first. It's like you need to have some sort of realization that sets you up to win before it even happens.
It starts to,
And that's almost every single person that I've taken through some sort of weight loss. It's been 2-4 weeks of just like blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden they've just each setback, they've adjusted their lifestyle a little bit and then it's gone. Yeah. And then it's our job to be like, highlighting it. Then we get off the call and we're like, my fucking setup's terrible. Yeah. Everything I do.
I don't know. Tam, is Amy on the live? I might butcher this. But she uses more in sort of typically within relationships, but applies obviously to coaching. It's like you either think you're not enough, you don't deserve it, or there's one other one, I can't remember what it is. But like the not enough one, it's like I'm not doing enough, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough to get that outcome.
You need to read Essentialism. Bad.
Yeah, it's in there, hey.
Dude, it's in there, it's good.
Yeah, so it's like, if you can tap into that as a coach, or be the client that taps into understanding that, like, well, it's for us, the way you coach, I assume, pretty similar to us. Like, it's fucking math, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's got nothing to do with your perception of yourself or like your worthiness of losing weight. It's just math.
Yeah, and that's why I say to everyone, it's like, like I spoke to before, it's like, take the emotion out of it, because all it is data in, data out. The more that you can feed into it, the more we can adjust. Because if you can't do that, and you're constantly going off, oh, I felt this, I feel this, or I feel like blah, 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 the result is just, it's made up.
Yep.
Whereas if you just plug in the numbers and go, on this X calories, if you do this, this, and this, weight go down.
Yeah. 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 And then you'll feel good for the goal and probably the summary of the episode. The reward is the metrics.
Yeah.
And if at the end of the week you can feel like the girl rated herself 2.
Yep.
It's like, if you can take rating yourself a 2 when your macros are within 5% over the week to taking that to a 5, what happens to everything else?
Yeah.
Like, your mood's better, your sleep's better, your energy's better,
whole system,
move around better.
The whole system works better.
Life's better.
Yeah. Because it's like each number that you go up is essentially almost like a operating system update. And then, again, there's more data that can hold.
Yeah.
And it goes forward again. So, yeah, the more I'm trying to work out that analogy better, like as far as it being like an operating system. But, yeah, it's so funny. Like, our jobs are managing the data, first of all. And then, secondly, it's managing people's expectations.
Yeah, I would say it's managing emotion and then interpreting the data.
Yeah, like the programming side of things is very, like, you can almost give anyone anything and they'll get results.
Something, yeah.
But then it comes down to how well have you tapped into the emotional reward system to give them the feeling of that, yes, this is for me. This is going to be the ultimate program of all time.
Yeah.
That could be fucking P90X or some shit back in the day. And if you really believe that you're going to get a 6-pack ab with it, you're going to put all the data into it.
Have you ever watched, Last Chance U?
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
It's good.
Best show ever.
Amazing.
Love it. There's one of the coaches on that says, winning a high school football has absolutely nothing to do with the players and everything to do with whether your players will run through a brick wall for the coach.
I love that.
And that's it. So, and it shouldn't be for the coach in our circumstance. Like, I'm not trying to set you up that, like, I'm like sick and Rex and you do it.
Yeah.
But your willingness to attack the thing is the number one determining factor of your outcomes.
Yeah, and I said that when, like, Xavier was doing all his big lifts as displays in the workshops, and I said the biggest difference that you to Xavier is the fact that he's almost willing to die underneath the barbell.
Yeah.
And that's a skill that's developed over a long period of time, and also, just from, failing a lot and realizing that it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I came up with this cool analogy that maybe it doesn't only work for parents. I need to make it like a non-parent version. Talking about like training Gen Pop people and newer people to the gym, that just explaining to trainers that sometimes just trying really hard feels embarrassing.
Yeah, I said this to a lot of my clients that, is that this is also environmental. So when we were at the previous gym, and a lot of the boys and girls, they were the strongest there.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, what the fuck is these guys doing? Like, they were a freak show.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, you are a freak show.
Yeah.
So you need to go to the circus. And the circus is Doherty's.
Yeah.
A fucking big boy, big chick gym.
Yeah.
And then you'll realize, like, oh, this is where I need to be. I don't feel like a freak anymore. I can train hard and scream and yell and whatever you're going to be doing. So, yeah. Yeah.
So we were talking about new people, like, just being willing to brace or to do those last 5 reps knowing they're going to be flushed, or they might make a noise, or they might pull a face or whatever even, and like at that level, that feels embarrassing. Dropping
the barbell and making a noise.
Correct.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So people just RDL shit.
I was trying to explain it to them of like, so LJ's like gone into this phase where he just gets bored super quickly, and like the main thing that he likes is just like you to sing. Amy's a fucking goat at it.
Do you sing Parkway Drive to him?
Yes. So, legit. So Amy's like pre-career was like childhood educator, childcare. So has all the nursery rhymes, actually has a really nice singing voice. I am neither of those things. So we're like, all right, we're putting banger techno on or like heavy metal or something. And even then, I'm like embarrassed to sing loudly in front of my 5-month-old. I'm like, that's how people feel in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, it makes absolutely no fucking sense. He's definitely not going to judge me.
No.
He's going to think it's the best thing ever. And I'm still like, I don't really want to really belt this out. It's really interesting.
That's why it's weird because I remember, I don't remember, but, with my mum and dad, they would actively play with me at the playground.
Yeah.
I don't see that very often.
Yeah.
I see lots of people on their phones and not pretending that they're dinosaurs or
because they'll be embarrassed.
Making Star Wars noises and shit. Yeah. Like, I'm like, get the fuck involved. Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
So it's an interesting parallel. Maybe it's like singing in your car for people that don't have kids.
Yeah.
It's like if no one can see you, turn the volume up. You can't hear yourself. So
no,
you're embarrassed of yourself.
Another one is like the shit that I say to Ruffles.
Yeah.
Like, it is incomprehensible nonsense. And me and Liana just be like, yeah. Like, cute dog voice.
Yeah.
Take that energy into the gym.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter to it. Like, they love it, and, treat the dumbbells and barbells like that. You can talk to them like that if you like.
But yeah, it's an interesting skill to be able to overcome, I think. And as coaches, no matter what level you're on, it's getting people to be willing to go past that.
Yep.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun when it happens. That's where you see like a huge amount of just unlocks with people. Really, really good.
Sick. It was a good episode, and it's right on time. Nailed it. Socials,
you can follow me, coach.Adrian Brown, and I think it's Grounded Strength on the YouTube, Grounded Strength on TikTok,
and IG as well.
Yeah.
Sick.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome.
Bye.
Goodbye.